Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Frosthaven Solo Insane playthrough with me. In this video, I'll be recording an introduction to the next scenario we're going to play. But before we do that, let us complete the Outpost phase from scenario 1. So, first thing we do when we go back to the town of Frosthaven. Lovely town it is. As you can see, a lot of buildings were destroyed due to our inability to save anybody that's been left behind. We do, however, have a craftsman, an alchemist, a barracks, and a workshop. So we'll get to that in a second. Let's just follow this outpost phase line by line. Start with passage of time. This simply means that in this top half of the campaign sheet, where we have a summer and winter slot, we'll make a tick in these boxes. So we start in summer, and as we cross over, it will be winter. Each of these numbers will mean something will happen when we get to the week. So yeah, we'll find out. Going down this chart, we do have 2 morale because everyone was dead. So we start with the worst possible defense modifier of -10 in the event our town's attacked, which is very sad. Let's hope we don't get attacked. Outpost event. So here is where we draw event. We are in the summer, so we draw event from the summer outpost event deck. I think this is shuffled, but let's just shuffle it just in case. Let's take event. Okay. This is event 16, it looks like. So let us read it together, shall we? With the help of the Foreteller app.
You're settling in for the night when a stern knock raps against the front door of your longhouse. It's a squat, sweaty Quattro mail carrier, intent on making a delivery to your longhouse. You look at the package. The address is right, but the name belongs to a previous resident who met an unfortunate end under an Algox raider's fist. You nod non-committally and accept the package. You're saving the mail carrier a long trip back with the box, really. Now you just have to figure out what to do with it. Option A. Keep the contents for yourself. Option B. Pass it along to some of the previous residents' friends.
What should we do here? It's interesting. As mercenaries, we probably would want to keep it for ourselves, especially given when the other person is dead. But all things considered, let's have a look at our character's trait. This guy likes to help people, be prepared. This guy likes to hide and torment people. This guy likes to fight, and this guy is a bit of a nobody trying to be a hero. So I feel like Deathwalker would naturally support helping people out and handing this package to the next guy. Everybody else I feel like is indifferent. So maybe if we roleplay a little bit, I feel like option B is the right thing to do here. Pass it on to the previous residents' friends. There might be something good or important or sentimental the other villagers might want out of this. So let's take option B here.
B. You find some of the dead guard's companions at the barracks and hand off the package. Opening it is a somber occasion, but ultimately, all of the homemade items inside lift the soldiers' spirits, and using them brings back fond memories of their friend.
Yeah, probably the guy that died at the very end to the Algox. So we'll take it. Extra morale is good. Push us up back up to -5. So we'll take that. Next is building operations. We'll start with the craftsman, which does nothing. Note that the craftsman adds 1 to 10 of items to our item supply. Alchemist does nothing. Workshop does nothing. And barracks let us train soldiers. We start with 4 soldiers and we have only capacity of 4, so we won't be training anybody. Ah, this is unlocked for some reason. That should not be happening. As far as I'm aware, there's no way of reversing that. So let's I must have accidentally clicked this. Let's hide it for now. Okay. Downtime. Downtime's when we level up. So as I noted in the last scenario, Drifter is leveled up, and Drifter is always the first one to be leveling up in my party. Drifter gets lots and lots of experience. So yeah, it's quite natural for Drifter to be leveling up. With this level up, let's have a look. We don't yet have enough, I believe, for the spear, so it's probably not the right time to be grabbing this perk. Let us just have a bit more of... Let us just add this one. Ignore scenario effect and add another +1. So now we have 2 +1s in the deck. Our HP goes up to 12. So the thing I was thinking about is if we do have enough now to make the spear, which allows us to a 2 hex away melee attack, I will absolutely be grabbing this, which allows us to take the spear and the shield into the battle. It's my favorite starting setup for Drifter, weapon-wise. Because we don't have that yet, we'll delay this and we'll grab this instead. For level 2 cards, I'll be taking Shockwave. Ever Forward is, in my opinion, a good card, especially the bottom half in a 4-player game. Very useful. Initiative, not so much. As a non-range character, I mean, if you were ranged, this would be attack 3, range 4, regenerate self. Quite helpful, but given we're not a ranged character, I won't be taking this. I'll be taking Shockwave, mainly using it for the bottom half to give us an extra shield and a fast initiative move. So what are we taking out here? Let's have a look. So in the next scenario, I will likely want to complete the first mastery, which is ends a scenario with my character tokens on the last slots of 4 persistent abilities. Because of that, I will need to take a lot of persistent ability in. So probably Unbreakable, Sustain Momentum, Crushing Weight, and Precision Aim and/or Continuous Health. Continuous Health, Precision Aim, Crushing Weight, and Shield is probably the easiest one to trigger. But we'll see. I think we will remove No Remorse here. It is a good initiative card, but ultimately healing top half is not what Drifter wants to be doing. So I think that's it. Extra perk, yes. Health, yes. And extra ability, yes. Okay. What else do we want to do next? Downtime, we can do some crafting of items. We need to also think about construction. Ideally, at this difficulty, you want to be making 1 construction every time you come back. If you do 2, obviously you have to pay a morale cost, so you don't want to do that. And of the earlier constructions, I mean, we're not going to do any wars until we're closer to winter time, when we expect more attacks. So I often build these 3 first, just to get the resource rolling. So as I mentioned earlier in one of my videos, early on gold means very little, and resources means a lot. So these 3 resources respectively get you an ore, a hide, and a wood for 2 gold. So you want to be building these as soon as possible. So let us set aside first these necessary resources to build a logging camp, since everything else requires wood. So the 10 gold, who has the most gold? I think our resident Deathwalker looter here can be donating 10 gold. Unfortunately, I can't track it here, but let's just remove it now. Let's set it aside towards the construction of the logging camp. The other things we need is 2, 3, 2, so 2 wood, 3 metal, and 2 hides. I think we'll take the 2 wood here. We'll put it here, ready for the construction. What else do we need? 3 metals, right? 3 metals, so let's take a metal here. I don't think the Blinkblade needs metal. Let's take a metal here. Okay, let's take one more metal here. So that's our 3 metal. And finally, 2 hides. I mean, Deathwalker just really needs the helmet, so we'll probably just take the 2 hides here. Drifter better off holding on to the hides, so does the Bannerspear. So let's just take 2 hides from him, from our Deathwalker here. So Deathwalker is really sponsoring the entirety of this construction here. While I'm at it, I like to move all the herbs that we have over to the Frosthaven supply, just because the herbs are not restricted from being shared by all the player characters for the purpose of crafting, whether items or potions, and it's just much easier to keep track of everything if they're all in the Frosthaven supplies. So I think that's everything. Okay, now let us do our crafting before we do our construction. Let's sort the items a little bit. I'm fairly certain I know what I want, but let's have a quick look. So absolutely spyglass is needed for our Deathwalker here, and it costs 1 metal. What does it do? This is during your attack ability, gain advantage on 1 attack. And this is any attack, unlike Weighted Net, which only applies to range attack. This applies to any attack. And any attack often will be our Fluid Knight, given you don't really want to be missing with this, and you often want to try to hit a critical hit if possible. So Spyglass just makes that much more likely to happen. Worth noting that Spyglass doesn't work on AoE attacks because this is just 1 attack. So if you're thinking this applies to both attacks on cards like Forceful Spirits, think again. This is not the Goggle from Gloomhaven, unfortunately. Okay, so I think that's all the crafting we're going to do with Valrath, Deathwalker. With our Tobit Blinkblade, we have 3 wood. I don't think that will get us anything. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain that doesn't get you anything. Yes, 3 wood means nothing. Okay. Drifter. Drifter has lots to go for it. So we have 1 wood and 2 hides. I like to get crude hide armor with my 2 hides, and this is why in my last video I took the ability to ignore -1 modifiers, as otherwise this would be adding a -1 modifier to my deck. So what does this do? On the next 2 attacks targeting you, the attacker gains disadvantage. So it looks and feels similar to the leather armor, except leather armor I get to choose. Whereas, because this is on the next 2 attacks, crude hide armor will always trigger on the next 2 incoming attack. Because you can't choose when to trigger it, I actually think this is slightly worse than your leather armor. I mean, you don't want to be getting hit more than once most of the time in 1 rotation on Insane. I mean, yes, more likely Drifter will take 2 hits, but if you are not able to control those 2 hits, so like if you're getting a small attack followed by big attack and a big attack, you really want this to be applying to the 2 big attacks to avoid the doubling from crits and blesses in the monster's deck, but you won't have that choice here. Single wood gets me nothing, so that's it. over here we'll take the spyglass. This is one of the best damaging item earlier on, and this is gonna make my javelin that much better. Again, I don't think one hide will get me anything other than flexible slippers. I think I'll save my hide. Looting is important, but I think we can get there without flexible slippers. Okay. So the only thing left to do is make some potions. So we have one rock root and one sithal. So let's use it. Let's see what we find. Rock and where is it? Rock and sithal. Here we go. Renewing potion. This is good. It says during your turn, refresh up to 2 of your spent items. Very helpful. The person with the most spent item is either my Bannerspear or my Drifter, and I'm going to be giving it to my Drifter just because this effectively gives me 1, 2, possibly 3, 4 more HP every rotation for one rotation. So on the turn where I'm really feeling the heat, this is a good one. Okay, I think that's all the crafting that's possible. And yeah, I forgot to mention, yeah, so the crafting, the downtime stuff is indicated by this moon symbol. So this is why I'm crafting and brewing potions. So finally, construction. So we set aside all the resources. Let us spend it and let us construct logging camp. Yay! As I said, during the outpost phase, you can buy 1 wood for 2 gold, and this gives me 1 prosperity. So prosperity is tracked down here, and it measures how built up our town of Frosthaven is, which at the moment it isn't built up at all. And if you didn't know, yeah, you put a sticker here, so you get to see your town evolve and change. Whereas previously there was a ruin, now you have some buildings. Lovely. Right, so I think that's all the building, outpost, etc., etc. So done. We shall now move on to selecting our next scenario. Now, of these 2 scenarios, I've played both. Number 3 is definitely harder. Number 2, Algox Scouting is the easier option, in my opinion. But the first round can also be quite difficult. I will be playing Algox Scouting just because this is insane difficulty. I will be lucky if I'm beating every scenario on my first try. I hope I do, but I don't want to be taking more risk than necessary. So let us go with Algox Scouting. Now, unfortunately, playing one of these scenarios does mean the other one's locked out. Such is the way of Frosthaven, though. So yeah, scenario 37 is unlocked by accident. I don't know why, but let us ignore it for now. So, Algox Scouting. Let us have a look at this scenario. 1 pip, so it is a straightforward scenario. This is the scenario is complete when all enemies in it are dead and some kind of ice sheet has been destroyed. At the end of that round, we read a section, and when the door is opened, we read another section. It does look to be quite a big map, so we need to keep that in mind and make sure our shadows and Deathwalkers and whatnot keeps up the pace. Enemy-wise, we have seen the archer, we have seen the guard, we have seen the priest, but we have not yet seen the scout. So that is a new enemy type. Quick look, scout, what does it do? Elite 1 has a lot of HP, hits like a guard, moves fast, and also have this enfeeble marker, which means when it hits you, you are disabled from using items. So that could be relevant for our tanks. Otherwise, same story for the priest, and same story for these guys. Loot table wise, there are a lot of loot here. 3 herbs, which if we grab at least 2 of them, we get to brew another potion, which is nice. There's a random item. I really, really hope we do get this. It is not guaranteed because there are more loot than there are looting opportunities. There are 20 cars and I think there are only 16 possible loots that can be generated. So yeah, there is a chance we don't get this, but if we do get it, it will be a great head start for our team. So without further ado, let us read the scenario book together.
They'll be tired from the raid, so this is your moment.
Sather had explained, pointing you toward the foothills of the Copperneck Mountains, where her scout tracked the Algox attackers.
I doubt you'll be able to fight them all on your own, but maybe you can find another way to subdue them if you get close. On the other hand, they'll be worn out after this little battle, so feel free to test your luck. Just remember, even a tired Algox is strong enough to rip someone in two.
You head to the area indicated by the scout, following the Algox's trail toward a wicked-looking mountain. As you draw nearer, you see that the trail splits. The main force returned to the near side of the mountain, but a smaller group peeled off to hike around to the eastern face. The scout told you he suspected there was a back door to the Algox settlement, and you follow the smaller group's trail, hoping he was right. The path narrows as you approach the steep eastern face, winding up to an overlook high above. Peering upward, you make out the faintest glimmer of light, but then a shape blots it out. A body, large and white, tumbles over the rocky ledge like a boulder, slamming against the jutting rocks. A dead Algox brawler, just like the ones who attacked Frosthaven, lies at your feet. Judging by its injuries, the rocks weren't its only problem. There's a fight up above. You scramble toward the top, hoping to make it before the battle is through. When you're halfway up, another furry shape appears over the ledge.
More intruders!
She scoffs.
You will never open the Sky Hall. This place belongs to the ice.
Your shock at the fact that an Algox just spoke your tongue is quelled as the speaker lifts a huge boulder and hurls it down at you. Time to move.
Why wouldn't Algox speak our tongue when we are mercenaries from 4 different races and we all speak quote-unquote our tongue? Beyond me, but okay, fine. Algox are fighting us once again, and there are lots of the big boys standing in front. So, let's have a look at the scenario then. This first room is tough, I'm not gonna lie. Much tougher than the previous scenario. You are immediately faced with potentially 12 plus 4, 16 hits from these guys. That's enough to kill even your drifter. And there is a world where they do ranged attack, and it makes it very difficult for you to step forward because the archers can step up. So there is a world, ideally they move up and these guys don't move a lot, so you have a couple of turns to deal with this onslaught. But worst case scenario is they move up a little bit, you are required to move up, and then they move up and shoot you in the face. And these guys hit hard, very hard. So it's a tough room, I'm not gonna lie, but hey, such is the world of Frosthaven. So what do I want to do here? Let's look at the battle go first. Die hard is never gonna happen. This is never allowed your hit point to drop below half your maximum hit point. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Pickpocket, that requires me to take loot ability, which I'm not taking. Opener, wow, tough. Maybe I should be taking loot then for pickpocket. Taking pincer movement, isn't the worst thing. I mean, it is a attack 5 if I put it off, although I don't really want to do it. Maybe Incendiary Throw can come out temporarily for this. I mean, if we get this off, it would be nice, but it's unlikely. So maybe the first turn is we summon our Bob here, and then we throw a Javelin and hope Bob lives long enough for us to set up a some kind of pincer movement. I can see that. So let's try Pickpocket. So we need to collect 2 or more loot tokens while adjacent to 1 or enemies. I mean, this is kind of crazy. But killing the first enemy, I don't know. Killing the first enemy is tough. It's just because you probably want Deathwalker to be killing something to make sure you. I mean, the problem is you need the Shadow to come out. If Shadow doesn't come out, Deathwalker is kind of pointless. I mean, of course, Deathwalker can always attack first for you to then set up the kill. But the way the RNG is at the beginning with your attack modifier deck just means you can't always be accommodating this, where we could potentially be accommodating this. 2 or more loot tokens. I mean, it just requires people not to loot, right? Here we have 1 guy alive, then you can do this, or maybe we actually save pincer movement for the first cycle even, just to do that looting. So yeah, I think that's more likely. Cards wise, do we want to switch this out? I mean, I probably won't be summoning Band of Strength this game. Not well, at least not in the beginning, because there's just too many corridors to be going through. So there is a world where I switch this out and take something like Deflecting Maneuver or Unbreakable Wall. I mean, that could be good just to push people back here. Although, if I can set up a disarm, I mean that's pretty helpful too. So I think we'll keep this setup. Yeah, I think we'll keep this setup. We need these for the moves. These range attacks are kind of helpful. Maybe we don't take Driving Inspiration here. And we try to play the Javelin Deflecting Maneuver setup. So that means we only have the 1 range attack now. I think we're gonna need more range attack. It's too crowded, this corridor, otherwise. So now see, the point with Deflecting Maneuver is, I think I might have talked about this already. If this was 14 initiative, I would rate this much higher because it would beat the Archer's fastest initiative. The fact that it is 15 means it's so much worse, because on the turns where you need to act before the Archer to prevent something bad from happening, this is just not going to cut it. Whereas Resolve Courage will. So yeah, it's sad, isn't it? But that's how it works. So I'm taking Resolve Courage 100% over Deflecting Maneuver on insane difficulty. So I think the only question is, do I want to switch our range attack for melee attack? Now, like I said, we have too many melee characters. I think we're going to be needing this. So yeah, it is what it is. Let's move on. 5 or more enemies, Streamliner or Straggler. 5 or more enemies. It's possible. There are a lot of enemies here. I mean, there's 5 in this room already, and there are more behind here. Could be challenging though. Streamliner, 5 or more cards left. If we're trying to do the 4 token thing, that's not happening, so it's definitely not this one. I can see not short resting. I can see that. That's controllable. That's controllable. But I mean, come on. Given we are Tormentor and Duelist already, I think Sadist has just got to be the one, isn't it? Right? Kill 5 enemies. That feels like a Drifter thing, so... Do I want to change anything? I don't think so. I think this is fine not to take, so that's good. Let's move on. Never use a potion. I mean, we don't have a potion, so that's pretty much guaranteed to happen. It's just, do we want to take a 2-tick one? Never attack enemy that has already acted in the round. Well, that's not happening. Yeah, so bye, and we'll take Prohibitionist. So I guess we're not drinking anymore. Do I want to switch out any cards? There's a reason for taking Sap Speed here. The multiple attack is helpful when there are a lot of enemies. So you would normally switch out Hit and Run. That's probably a good bet. The top move on Hit and Run can be helpful sometimes. But how often is that going to happen while I'm going fast and I want to use the top half Hit and Run? Unlikely. But then again, while I'm going fast, do I really want to be using Sap Speed? Is the question. Let's switch out. Let's switch out. Let's do top half of Sap Speed, maybe. I mean, I'm never doing the bottom half of Hit and Run, and unlikely to be doing the bottom half of Sap Speed either. So let's try that. Daredevil. I would love to be able to do that. I mean, it's easy to do. It's just very costly. So Pacifist, 3 or fewer, or Mugger. I just talked about how Deathwalker wants to be killing stuff, and now we've got Pacifist. Could happen. That's not going to happen. Let's not even worry about that. That's tricky as well. Most of my attacks are very long ranged, so... Oops, not this. What am I doing? So, Pacifist it is, I think. So you want to kill less and you want to kill more. Well, perfect complement to each other there, I guess. Okay, so we'll set up starting positions and then we will proceed to cut the video for the next one. So ideally, what do we want to happen here? Our Drifter is going to be setting up. Now, the way this initiative works is if we have a fast initiative here, this guy will come here, and this guy will whoever's here will take 1 hit. The next person will go for either this guy or this guy. So something like this, and then the next person will go here. So if you were beaten on initiative by the guards, that's what will happen. Now, given a lot of people are setting up on this round, I mean, there's a world where Deathwalker doesn't set up and just do a black barrage and disable one of the guys. That's one way to do it as well, to just reduce some of the incoming damage. We'll think about doing that when we actually start the combat. But I think absolutely that Bannerspear will probably take the first hit here from this guy over here, because Bannerspear will most likely beat Drifter on initiative. And Black Barrage, I mean, Black Barrage could be used to disable this. It will be costly, because that means the next turn Deathwalker is not doing anything, and he's out of rotation. But maybe that's just how this one's going to go down. It does mean that our party is only exposed to 2 hits, so one from this guy and one from this guy. It is helpful, don't get me wrong. It's just questionable whether we want that to be happening. So yeah, the other person has to be here in order to ensure Bannerspear takes only the 1 hit, and then one of these guys, most likely Drifter, because Blinkblade will be going very, very slow, take the other hit. I mean, there's a world where Shadow Walker goes here as well. I think the danger of setting up someone here is these guys gonna move forward and Blinkblade is gonna become a near target, but Blinkblade is likely gonna move anyway. So I think this is gonna be our setup, So I'll save the game here, I'll cut the video here, and we'll go to the next one for the combat.